I want to invite my dear friend and my actual bookkeeper to the stage and introduce you to Janet Ickes. Welcome, Janet. Make sure you unmute yourself, and I'm going to spotlight you for everybody so everybody can see you.
And I think I can share now. So we're going to see if we get this to work properly, because money almost, the money doesn't spend itself, yet so often I think that it kind of feels that it does. Would you guys agree? I'm going to try to watch chats. If I bounce one, I use some different screens. So we're going to see. Haley, am I good to go? Did I get the right squirrel up there?
It looks like a squirrel.
And it looks like a squirrel, so I did it. So we got it working. So the technology gremlins are almost harnessed. But so I'm going to ask you a question: to catch a squirrel or not? Because that is the question. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So anybody ever have squirrels in their business? Like, if you do, what are some of the squirrels that you fight in your business, or even in your personal life? Have you gotten a few squirrels? Throw it in a chat. What do you think? I don't see any squirrels. You mean I'm the only one that chases squirrels all day long? There we go. Big fat squirrel. Do you see? There's a few of them there. Haley's got a couple of them. I know she's got a couple, because sometimes we let them go play in the yard together some days. So think about that. I'm going to ask you that question. Squirrel queen. There you go, Kim. Absolutely. And especially if you have the dogs like I do. Yeah, there's definitely some going there. There's squirrels everywhere as you're looking and you're coming through, because every time you turn around, you never know what squirrel's going to be there. Chief Squirrel Testers is under the desk. So that's Jojo. Try to remember, I got to remember the right names. But in business, and when it comes to money, do you find that sometimes you feel like the squirrels have taken off with your money, possibly? Because they're all around. They're absolutely all around. And you just never know where those squirrels are going to be. So I want to challenge you today that if you can figure out how to catch the right squirrel, there's a bonus in that, because you just very well might just get paid, especially when it comes to your business. So that's what we're going to talk about today, because that's kind of the fun of it. So let's have some fun with money, because as I said, there are squirrels, and I think you'd agree that squirrels are everywhere. I want to introduce you to someone. This is my chief squirrel chaser. This is Winston. Winston is a lab puppy. For those of you that have ever dealt with a lab puppy, they're quite unique. They have no calm in their DNA ever. But I would say most of you, if anybody's ever been around, I love to take Winston for a walk. Oh, I better not say that too loud, because he very well might be in my lap here before long. But we were trying to get out for a walk. Now, I don't know about you, but if you ever tried to take a puppy for a walk, it's a little bit of a challenge. So we got the calico. There we go. She hasn't caught one yet, which maybe she will. We're going to have to train her a little bit better. We're going to get her and Winston going in the right direction. Absolutely. So when I think about it, we go out for a walk, we try really, really hard, but I'm going to tell you what, every time I turn around, all this kid was thinking about, all he was thinking about was this squirrels. There was a blade of grass. There was a butterfly. There was a new friend. There was another dog. Every time I turned around, I think there was some in his head too, because I sure didn't see them. But this kid was running here and there, up, down, over, under. And next thing I know, I'm tied up. And I'm going to look crazy, because all of a sudden I'm tied up in the leash and he's not. So I'm not sure about you if you've ever done that or not, but that's usually typically our walks. It's a little bit of a challenge, but it's part of the job. Would you not agree? If you own a puppy and you have a pup, that's part of it. So I want you to think about that when it comes to your business, and even more when it comes to your money in your business. Whether we like it or not, we've got to get that under control. We've got to figure it out. But too often, as your business is growing, you're wearing all of these hats, and that's what we're talking about today. You have all of these hats on. You're juggling all of these hats. Do you feel like you're chasing squirrels? You got to have the marketing hat on. You've got to have the finance hat on. You've got to have the CEO hat on. Charlene brought that up so much. We've got to get this all on. But don't you feel like you're in a hamster wheel sometimes, chasing those squirrels, just trying to figure them all out? It is overwhelming. I mean, absolutely, it is overwhelming. And that would happen And what I found is when it gets that overwhelming, the last thing on the list tends to be money management. The last thing on the list is money management. But if you want your business to be successful and you want to make sure that it's growing and you want to build that foundation, which is why you're here today, so pat yourselves on the back for being here today, then we need to get this foundation and this pillar and this leg of your business up and running. Anybody have any idea for small business owners? The odds are a little stacked against small business owners and entrepreneurs. Any idea how many businesses are still around after 5 years in small business world? Anybody know that statistic? Anybody have any ideas? 3%? After 5 years, oh, you can say at least, that's probably about right lately, but 50% was the one that I was looking for. As far as after 5 years, 50% are gone. By 10 years, you're at that 3. I mean, it's a little crazy, it's scary. And you know what the number one reason that those businesses admitted to why they failed? 82%, in fact, admitted the reason that their failure. Any idea what it was for? Anybody have any thoughts on that? What do you think? What do you think? Money, the inability to manage their money. You got it, Haley. So I want to challenge you to go chase these squirrels, but I don't want you just to chase them. I want you to catch them. At least a couple strategic ones. So back to that strategy. So let's talk about squirrel number 1. First squirrel that I want to talk about is the little guy that was doing somersaults for Winston because he was chasing him. Some days I said, I think it's in his mind, but that's okay. And we're going to revolve it around money. And I want you to think about something in your business. Raise your, I can't see everybody on the screen, so I'll have to put it on there. Put a 1 in the chat if you have a separate business and personal bank account. Anybody have a separate business and personal bank account? All right, I'm seeing lots of ones. Okay, I absolutely want to pat you guys on the back because too often I don't see that. Otherwise, it's just a pile of money. Would you agree? But too often when you don't. So let me take it one step further. Your bank account. What about your credit card? How about a credit card? Do you have a separate credit card? Stick with the 1. Do we have separate credit cards? Very good. Awesome. Very, very good. So this one, debit card, that's cool. As long as it's business, we are good to go. So I want to pat you guys in the back. So this one is really easy then. Because too often what happens, and I have worked with several entrepreneurs when they first start working with me, and we have figured out that they're intermingling things. And when that is, it's like, it's a mess. If anybody ever try to untangle gum bands that got tied up or any type of string that got tied up, that's exactly what you're doing in your business. But you guys have got this down. So pat yourselves on the back. We won't even spend too much time on this squirrel because you've already caught him. So let's talk about a different squirrel. Okay, different squirrel. This is the second squirrel that I want to talk about. Have you found that when it comes to managing money, does anybody have a system in place? If so, drop it in there. Anybody have a system? What are you using? What are some of the things that are being used? Nothing? Envelope system? Look at your bank account and try to figure out if you have enough money in it to pay something. 17 hats, that's a good choice, Kim. Okay. Anything else? It can be something as simple as a spreadsheet, Excel, Google. Any other systems that are in place? Excel, very good, very good. At least it's something. You can do software such as QuickBooks, 17 hats. There's various other ones. Anybody else? Separate file, spreadsheet, and accountant. There you go, Kelly. There we go. We've got everything there. Good job. The trick is you've got to have a system. You will hear me say this a lot. You've got to have a system in place. What is that system? And what is the best system for you? I get that question an awful lot, and I always have the same response. And some of you that may have known me or may have heard me talk before, I always have the same response. What is the best system for you? Because there is one. Any thoughts on that? What do you think the best financial management system is for you? What do you think? Anybody have any thoughts on that one? Is it Excel? Is it 17 hats? Is it something else? What do you think? Any thoughts on? What's the best system for you? It's pretty simple. It's the one you're going to use. It is the one. I'm going to take it one further step, Kelly. Absolutely, whatever works. A lot of the systems will work. but it's the one that you're going to use. I want to take it one step further, but thank you, Kelly, for bringing that in. Absolutely. It has to work for you, which means you need to work the system. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So of course, looking at this lovely little squirrel, is we've got to figure out how to get some kind of a software or some type of system in place. Because when you don't have that in place when it comes to your money, you end up going really crazy and you get stressed out. And tax time, anybody look like that on tax time? Because you know what? You had to figure out where all those receipts that may or may not made it to that box that you gave to your accountant. Now, 17 hats, that's a great way of doing it. Putting it through an Excel, at least it's there. The envelopes, there's many systems that are out there, but the main thing is we need to make sure that you've got a software system in place to do it. And that's one of the squirrels, because you can chase them. You can play whack a squirrel too. I have found that out too. Like there are so many choices out there. What do you do? What do you do? What direction do you go in? Now, for me, I specialize in QuickBooks Online. I found that a lot of the folks that I was working with when I moved here from Pennsylvania to North Carolina, I didn't know anybody. And my Mary Kay career, I was going to be a director because I walked away from corporate after 20 years, hallelujah, and got out of that craziness. But the folks I was working with, they may have been using the software, but they were only using this little bit of it. I'm like, well, that's not right. That doesn't make sense. And then I realized what came natural to me, because I had been blessed, if you want to call it that, with about 9 mergers in my history with the bank that I was with. My last one, we went from ADP to AltiPro, maintained the accounting hat, maintained the payroll hat, it was all fun. But I got the pleasure of being able to integrate 8 times in my history with the bank, different systems, different ways of looking at it. So that gave me a little bit of an advantage. Things that I came up with naturally weren't so natural when it comes to your business, because back again, you're chasing squirrels. You've got to put all these hats on and you've got to try to figure it out. So I want to encourage you, whether it's 17 hats, whether it's Excel, get that system and get it fine-tuned. And if it's QuickBooks is one of the areas, then by all means, talk to someone who has a background in it or at least some guidance in it so you make the right decisions. Because software is important. If you're going to grow your business, remember, it's got to be repeatable. Shirley mentioned that it's got to be repeatable, because you got to start thinking like the CEO, which means you've got to have the structure in place. You've got to have the system in place to make sure that you can maintain those receipts, that you can go. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody's helping you with transactions that you don't get to be part of it. As the business owner, you need to be looking at those reports and making decisions. One of your biggest hats that you can't get rid of is the visionary side. You've got to know where your numbers are. You've got to be able to put your arms around those numbers, because those numbers are going to determine your success or your failure. And remember, as the CEO of your business, you're responsible, whichever way that goes. So let's get you a foundation to make sure that when it comes to money management, it's in place. So squirrel number 3. What about those unexpected expenses that come up? Anybody ever had those? What do you think? Unexpected expenses. What are some unexpected expenses that popped up? What do you think? Yeah, Haley definitely has had a few. I know I've had a lot. What do you think, guys? What do you think? What unexpected expenses have come up in your world? Car repairs. Absolutely, Barbara. And probably the same week of the car repairs, the dog, the vet because of dental issues, a car that was a lemon, brakes went out, dishwasher went out. It was all probably the same week. And your business is no different. Haley mentioned earlier that the computer just wasn't being quite as cooperative. And in her line of business, the computer is probably a staple of the business. It's the foundation of the business. If she doesn't have a computer, we're in trouble. Kind of like me. If I don't have a computer, I'm in trouble. Everything is out there. But what ends up happening, you better have a backup to the backup to the backup. Because if you don't, all of a sudden there's unexpected expenses. All right, let's taste facts. Are they really unexpected? Yeah, I did not want to buy a computer this week. Yes, of all weeks, it probably was not on the hit list. That's exactly when they're going to come up. And all of a sudden, you've got to figure out what you're going to do with it. However, if we get a handle on stuff and we can figure this out, Are those unexpected expenses really unexpected, or are they just inevitable? If you're in business, I don't know about you, if you're in a car, I'm guessing some maintenance on that is probably necessary. You're going to have to put oil in it. You're going to have to put gas in it, for one thing, if you want to go from point A to point B. Brakes need redone, things like that. They're not really unexpected. It's just part of doing business. So I want you to start thinking about those. And what can we do today to make it a little easier going forward? So let's think about that. So you guys got introduced to Winston, and we saw his craziness. I want to introduce you to Bear. Bear is our little adoptee rescue from the shelter, and he came to join us. And he is a big baby, which you can tell. We told he was a German Shepherd. He's actually a Great Dane German Shepherd. He's a big boy, and his little buddy is Winston. But there's a difference when I take him for a walk than when I take Winston for that walk. And you know what that difference is? Those same squirrels are out there, those same blades of grass. But the interesting thing, now, mind you, he'd been with me for about a year. He was a little bit more happier, and I actually enjoyed taking him for a walk. You know why? Because he actually stayed with me, and I didn't get all tangled up. Now, was there a squirrel or two to chase? Of course there were. Of course there were. But the difference was we had been working together for the last year. We worked on training. We got some support. He went to puppy school. Sometimes when you're looking at all this stuff and you're trying to deal with it, sometimes you got to reach out for some support too. What systems? So the fact that you are here today to help to learn how to grow your business into the empire, the fempire if you're Katarina, this is a good thing because you are here to build those foundations. So I want you to start thinking about that as we're dealing with these and we're looking at these squirrels, because to catch a squirrel or not, squirrels are going to be there. It's part of running your business. Squirrels are going to be there. But that is the question. So I want you to think about this. When you're doing this, I want you to make sure what you guys already got this one, you can cross this one off the list. The business and personal accounts are split. The other one is as unexpected and the software. So if we put all of these squirrels together, and these are the first 3 squirrels that we go and catch, what does that mean? What does that mean for us? If we split our business and personal, we know exactly how much our business is providing and supporting our lifestyle because we have it tracked, because we have the right system in place or the right software in place that's going to track our expenses, that's going to track our income. Tell us where we need to be focusing in on. And better yet, what's your profits? Because without profits, somehow as the business owner, we never seem to get paid. Well, that's not okay either. And let's take it one step further. If I get all of this in place and I get these squirrels kind of put together and I got that software in there and I've got everything separate, I've got everything tracked, I can take it one further step and start planning for those unexpected, or shall we say inevitable, expenses. And there's a system in place that you can put in place to make this work. So when taxes come, when insurance comes due, you simply write the check because you have been planning for it right along, because you've already caught this squirrel, because that is the question. And sometimes you really got to get alone, we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And that's what makes the difference. Surround yourself with folks that can work together and go, because you know what, these squirrels are out there. They're out there, but if you become a good squirrel chaser and you not only chase them, but catch them, you can start really working through maybe adding a second account. Think about that on your business. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you have the right software in place, it makes it fairly easy, but even better yet, you can start preparing for those unexpected expenses because you're being proactive. And it is possible, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Because the bottom line, your business is to excel. And what do you excel at? Because I'm guessing you want to get paid. And that's what I want to encourage you. So how are you going to get paid for them? You can do this when you have the right system and the right squirrels caught to make your business a success. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. I would love to connect with some folks. And actually did not just, yes, that's true. Very much, Haley. We're working through some issues, and that's part of it. But let's get prepared. Let's get a plan, and let's catch the right squirrels so that you can get paid and your business supports your lifestyle. I'm out on various things. I'd love to connect with you. Haley mentioned it earlier. My book is Money Doesn't Spend Itself. So where'd it go? You'll hear that kind of going through. And I hope that you guys went ahead and opportunity and downloaded the guide that's over in the resources, because the last thing I want you to be is Winston giving him your $100 bills that should be going into your pocket. That's not what I want you to be. So if anybody would like to learn a little bit more, or just maybe have a conversation in something, I'd love to invite you to have a Profit Accelerator call with me. And I would love for you guys, let's have a connection. Let's figure it out, because you know what? Did someone say profits? Absolutely. Because if you're in business, that's what's going to make you successful. And it's your time to excel your profits. So questions there. I guess I have a moment for that and can kind of go from there. Oops, where's the share? Oh, there it is. I lost the screen share. Can move things back around. But thinking about that. That should be right about on time, I think. I forgot to set the timer, Haley.
Yep, you've got a couple of minutes for Q&A. Yep.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping to give myself a little, because it always gets a little bit, I like to have fun with it. Money gets a little challenging at times, but it doesn't spend itself. So any questions? Or we get to go early to no questions. They've all ran.
Yeah, they're all going running for the hills.
They're chasing the squirrels. They're going to go catch some squirrels.
Seriously. Yeah. And when I say, you know, I'm like living this alongside everybody, I'm the one who had hired a well-known CPA firm to do some stuff. And I think the look on Janet's face kind of just said it all. No, I mean, it is what it is. So it was an experience. So I'm going to put us back into gallery view here, hopefully, and remove the spotlight. So do y'all have any bookkeeping or, you know, different systems questions or profit questions, those kinds of things for Janet? No, they're very quiet.
There we go. I've got them too busy chasing squirrels.
Right.
So there's the question. What's the first squirrel you're going to catch?
Yeah, I'm still working on the following the system squirrel. Straightening out and following the system.
That's what I was going to say is, like, I have the system there. It's just every single month making sure that I've dotted my I's and crossed my T's. It definitely was a help when it came time to tax season, because pretty much everything was in there, just the final, then let me make sure I did this or that. But yeah, it's doing it every single month instead of quarterly.
And don't set the time aside. That's the one thing, you know, we're saying, you got to set that time. You've got to make it, but make it consistent. So I pick, I mean, I don't care if you pick Friday afternoon, Monday morning, Tuesday night, I don't care. But what I've found also is if you do it consistently, so pick that hour, you know, start with an hour a week and just dedicate. If you don't need the hour, I'm sure you can find something else to do if you got it caught up in that hour, but your business is worth it, because your business is what's going to support your lifestyle. So yeah, I encourage you to do that. It's well worth it. It's so much nicer at the beginning of the year to be able to just send the report to the tax guy and you're done.
Yes.
Yeah. And not wondering if it's actually been done, you know, or how badly it's been done. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Janet.